30 years ago, we never would have imagined being here talking about this. We went from childhood games to energetic alignment. By doing the work, we created better versions of ourselves. Join us, two women sharing their intimate journal entries on their path to consciousness. Get in here, get in here, get in here. If you like our content and you want to hear more, subscribe, like, and comment below. Magic. The little girl in me knows magic is real. The grown woman in me searches for tangible evidence of its existence. The little girl in me knows that fairy tale endings are possible. The grown woman in me remembers every heartbreaking end. The little girl in me has vivid imagination to believe in the unbelievable. The grown woman in me sees realities, not possibilities. When I healed the little girl in me, she was free to come out and express herself through the grown woman in me. She challenges me to believe in the unseen and unknown and gave me the eyes to see the miracles unfolding right before me.
Magic isn't just abracadabra and fairy dust, but even as a child, I was here for all of it. For me, it was developed into a little bit of everyday life. It's the knowing that all things are working out for me. I, for one, consider it a magical moment when people are discussing quantum jumping. Now, I don't know all the physics behind it, but when they tell me it's time to jump to another realm, I'm going to be ready because it sounds magical and I want in. And if all I have to do is believe that nothing can hurt me and I'm protected against all evil, then I get to live a fantastical, extraordinary, magical life. Get in here, get in here, get in here, y'all. It is episode 3, and today we're talking about magic. I love it. It is so magical. We're going to have a magical conversation today, y'all.
We absolutely are, because I'm feeling very magical today.
It's a new feeling. I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, magic. Oh, we're talking about magic today. And I started even saying to my daughter when I drop her off at school, have a wonderful, magical day.
Does she love that, or does she look back at you like, really, Mom?
She loves it. She loves it.
Of course she does, because you got a little witch over there you raised.
I do. She loves it.
So tell me a little bit about your journal entry this week. Like, when you think of magic, and we decided that this episode is going to be about magic, like, what did you think? What was your inspiration for your journal entry?
I think magic and science are like intertwined. And I know all you scientists are, probably going to bash me. But for me, I think science and magic are just the same thing. And so that's when I wrote about quantum jumping, I had a feeling like I could actually possibly do this, right? I don't know anything about it. It sounds as crazy as saying I can go live on Mars, right? To me it does. But I also feel like I could do anything. So that was my inspiration. It was kind of just around science.
But it is science, though. And there are scientists that maybe want to say one thing or not, but quantum physics is real. Metaphysics is real. And whether you realize it or not, Keela, you probably already have quantum leaped. You just have to go back and look at your life and think about the things or in situations that you were in that you were no longer in, that you were able to take yourself out of it. So like, I think that when we hear quantum leaping, we think immediately you wake up and be like, this is a whole new house with a whole new family. And like, everything is different. I'm in an alternate reality. I don't think it's that at all. I think it reminds me of the movie, Everything All at Once. If you ever watched that, it was like where there are multiple reality versions of you in different realities. And just based on the decisions that you make, those realities have changed. And so that means, like, when I think of quantum leaping, that means that the part of me that knows I am a millionaire, that I am happily like married or in love and like fulfilled, and this podcast is a wild success, that reality of me exists somewhere. I just have to catch up to that reality. So I think about it in manifestation when I talked about like where I was 2 years ago. I think in episode 1 when we were talking about it and like how I believe I manifested everything this life that I'm living, almost as if that version of me or this version of me went back and told me, hey,
Mm.
You're gonna get the divorce, you're gonna get the new house, you're gonna be happy, you're gonna be free, um, but you're also gonna start a podcast with a girlfriend that you've reconnected with, and it's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like I caught up to this version of me. Now I need to catch up with that next version. And I think the way that you do that is to like anchor in those pieces. So that newer version of me that is that millionaire that is in love, what would they be doing in that reality? And that's
Yeah.
what I need to be doing. So I need to be thinking those positive thoughts, or where I'm not worried about financial, I wouldn't be worried about it. I wouldn't be waking up with like, ooh, I got to pay this bill, or you know what I'm saying? So how do I put myself into that mindset of that reality that I want to jump into?
Right. I think I'm like, you had mentioned it, we expect to just kind of wake up and be in a new home, in a new, because that's what happened to Cinderella. Like the lady just did this
The
and
fairy godmother came and said, "Widdly-dee."
she
Yes.
had a whole new outfit on. I want that. I want a new outfit, y'all, every morning. I just want to look good.
I don't believe if we don't get to that mindset where we can believe in instantaneous
Yes.
manifestation, because that's what that is. And you want, and I believe that that is very possible. That just means in our mind, we have to have absolute zero doubt that it can
Mm,
happen. And so I think that's the hardest part, is believing 100% that like I could, with a twist of my wand, change my entire environment or my mindset or my reality, which I think that we can do. And we have proven, even people that don't realize that they're manifesting, you are manifesting. You just might not be manifesting what it is that you want because you're
mhm.
not focused on it. You say you want this, but then you focus on everything that doesn't, or that proves that what you want isn't existing.
Yeah.
So naturally the universe can now only respond with those things that you have focused on, because that's all you focus on. Even though you think you want this and you want what
Right.
comes with the financial freedom of a better job, or you know, whatever the case is, but then all you do is sit down and look at your bills and be like, how am I going to do this? This is not enough, and I'm going to have to penny pinch here. And so you're focusing on the very thing that you don't want, and that is
Right.
calling in more of what you don't want.
Right. Right. Now this is the one time where I'm gonna be like, y'all, programming was okay. And I'm gonna tell you why. Like
Mm,
just go back to, being raised and growing up. We had to watch all the Disney fairy movies, right? Like and we enjoyed it. And our parents didn't think anything of it, but you were actually sitting me in front of a program that did all this magical stuff, right? And it's so weird that that was the normal, and everybody had to sit down and watch these movies, and then all of a sudden I get to be an adult and I'm supposed to forget about all of that. Like I'm supposed to feel like that doesn't matter, that could never happen to me. So I want to talk about like what these Disney movies really did for our imagination and why we need to start getting back to that person.
well, and I think that's why in my journal entry I was saying like the little girl in me believes in it, because she was programmed to believe that happily ever after is very real and it happens in every story. There's
Right.
always a happily, the villain never wins. That's the
Yeah.
key thing there. And so, and I think as children why it's so important, and I still love animated movies. I still watch. I think a few months ago I was like, "Oh, I'm going to watch, Beauty and the Beast because it's my favorite Disney movie."
Hmm.
But my point is, when you, as a kid, you're open to all the ideas of the world and can believe that anything is possible.
Yes.
But then we go through life and we get those hard knocks that tell us, this is not a fairy tale. This is not a happily ever after. This isn't the ending that I thought I was going to get. And so we stop believing. We
Right.
slowly stop believing. And it's the idea of, like, what was the movie where you had to believe in order for it to be, was it the train, the midnight what was it? The
I don't
the
know that one.
yes, you do. The one about the train that they get on and the bell, but you had to believe in order for the train to pick you up to take you to the
Oh,
North
Polar
Pole.
Express?
Yes, yes. If you didn't believe, then the Polar Express was not coming to your house to pick you up, kind of thing. And so that's what happens. And so we get knocked down, and then life, and it tells us that it's not possible. But now on the other side of it, of going through the spiritual journey and like feeling my spiritual gifts, which very much feel like magic, to have
Mhm.
intuition, to have guidance, to have an inner guidance that tells me what I should and should not do is magical.
Right.
To be able to write something down and say, this is what I want, or this is what I am manifesting, and for that to show up is magical.
Mhm. That's
And so
it.
I think we forget to look at the magic in the day of every day. There are miracles happening every day that we have just grown accustomed to believe they are supposed to happen. And so we stop seeing the magic and the zeal and the excitement in things because we expect it. But
Right.
every day there are miracles. And when you can learn to see them, I promise you, you'll start seeing more of them and they'll get more outlandish and more unbelievable because you were attuned to them. And one of my
Yeah.
favorite affirmations is, um, I look with wonder at the day before me, which is basically
Mm.
saying, like, I'm ready, show me, excite me, give me some type of like zeal, something to make me be like, oh my God, Keela, guess what happened to me today?
Yeah.
And when you go in your day looking at it, happy expectancy, expecting something good to happen, expecting some miracle or something magical or something coincidental that you weren't expecting, like those are the parts of life, those like little emotions and those dramas that we can play out instead of like looking and waiting for the shoe to drop and for their drama and all this stuff. Look with wonder at the exciting things that could be happening.
Mhm. I like to say, "Lord, surprise me." Like, I love that one.
Surprise
Just
me.
surprise me.
Mhm.
And then I'm just gonna think it's a miracle, it's a magical moment, I like that.
But you also have to, like, honor them, right? So you have to recognize.
Right.
You have to
Mm.
recognize them and then say thank you for them. So the minute I get it, I'll be like, "Ooh, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Give me more of that. Bring
Yeah.
me more of those happy little surprises or those little miracles or coincidences," because all of those things are magical. And we don't realize how much magic is involved in everything that we do. Who we attract is magic because whether we realize it or not, we abracadabraed our environment because we put out a vibration that you can't see, but everything we think, everything we say, everything we feel is letting out a vibration into the universe. And and then that vibration is going out, searching the universe for other like-minded vibrations. And that is how you attract the people, places, and things in your life by the magic that you are releasing that you don't even know, which is
Yeah.
why it's so important you become aware.
Right. There's a part of magic that a lot of people resonate with, um through entertainment, right? So we go
Mhm.
and we watch magic shows, um, but also kind of how it relates to science, because you hear about, or at least I've heard, um, people think this earth is like an illusion, right? Like they
Mhm.
think that there's like a firmament and if you hit that top part, it's gonna zing you back. Like there's so many
Mhm.
things. And I find it all, magical. And I'm that's why um I don't criticize it. I listen to it and I'm like, ooh, that's possible.
Mhm.
Anything is possible. And that's magical too, right?
Well, I totally do believe in the firmament. I totally some of the
You
things
think
you
that
saying, I
if
was
you
like,
touch it, like, you gonna get zapped back down?
I don't
Like,
I don't know that we can get out of it, no, I don't know. But that's just my
mm.
thought. Everything that you said that were people, so I was like, "Those people she's talking about are me." I believe in the firmament. I think we kinda, like, get stuck in it, but anyway, but I do believe the earth is incredibly magical. I think Mother Earth in itself is magical that it can clean its own environment. And I think that's what we're
Yes.
seeing or happening when we see like these crazy, like the crazy weather that's happening around the world and just the things that are happening. I think Mother Nature's like, I am cleaning myself up, you know? So
Mm.
again, it's all very magical. The fact that there are seasons and that, trees can go dormant, animals can go dormant, they can lower their body temperature and their heart so much that they can go dormant and survive, not die, but survive until it's time for them to come out when the environment is more ideal suited for their living conditions. Like
Yeah.
that's magical to me. The fact that the trees every year will still grow back their leaves. And, after a brutal winter, and I'm in the north, so you know how it is, it's
Right.
brutal and it's icy, and you guys can still live and come back alive and be beautiful and full of flowers and all these things. And then it invites all of these animals and insects into the yard. That's magical. So you
Mhm.
have to start looking with wonder at your environment and seeing everything that is absolutely magical. Like even something as simple as like, you were looking or you forgot something at home and then you get to work and someone gives you exactly what you had forgotten at home. Like those are little magical things that you think like, "Oh, how convenient." Was it
Yeah.
convenient or was it magical?
They're gonna say convenience, but I promise you, if you switch your vocabulary a little bit, then you can live this magical life too, because the magical life is just so joyous and it's happy and it's, like I remember watching, I think you mentioned Beauty and the Beast. One thing that stood out to me is how she used to, before she got captured and everything, how she used to just walk around the neighborhood and just talk to the trees and talk to the animals. Like she didn't want to talk to people. She wanted to talk to her living natural things around her.
Mhm.
And I used to be like, I want to be like that. But then you get out here and you're like, oh no, I can't
Well, they
talk to the
talk so
tree.
weird. Their Belle, that
Right.
Belle is so weird. They
Yeah.
talk crap about Belle. Now Gaston saw Belle's potential. He wasn't the right match for her, but
He
he
did.
saw something in her that no one else did. It was because she was different and she wasn't afraid to be her. That's why Gaston
Amen.
wanted her. But whatever, Gaston, you are the villain in Beauty and the Beast. Okay. Honey,
Right.
Beauty and the Beast had me and still has me wanting my own beast in real life. I need that big brawly man that has those soft eyes that like you can protect
Right.
me, but you can still my hand feels small inside of yours. Girl, that is what I'm looking for. Where is my beast? Okay, I will be your beauty.
He's
But
coming.
I know he's coming. But yeah, so like that's magical. Like the
Right.
whole and like the idea of like I watch now when I think about the movies and things that I watch animated movies and Disney movies. Like I love Encanto, I love Moana, I love Frozen, just because there is that make believe element and like there's song involved and it's like light. There's nothing heavy about it. Again, because I think you have to be careful with how you curate your environment because what you expose yourself to. But in my journal entry, I talked about the reason or how I was able to let the little girl out me come out so that she could explore through me was to heal.
Yeah.
So I had wounds that 4-year-old little Zakkiya had in me from when my parents divorced, my mom left us. I had wounds from 6-year-old me, 8-year-old, whatever it was. I had to go back. And when I did all that work to work on my wounds, to figure out the source of them, to accept them, to feel those feelings, and then to let them go and tell myself, I used to tell my little girl self, like, Zakkiya, you're going to be okay. This is not going to stop you. And so I go back and heal every version of myself that needs to be
Mhm.
healed. And when I did that work, like I wrote to her, I talked to her, and I allowed her to relive the parts that made her hurt so that we could address them and then move on from my 40 something year old self telling my 4-year old self, this doesn't break you. You're
Mhm.
going to be okay. There will be lessons that you will have to learn along the way, but you always are going to be okay. And guess what? You get to get here. And
Yeah.
so by going back and healing those versions of me, I think I started to see magic in the world again. I started to get inspired thought and inspired action to do things differently. And because of that, because of the healing work, I now live a life that I just at one point I did not believe was possible.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
life that I'm living right now was unbelievable to me 4 years ago.
Yeah. There's a part of magic to um the supernatural part of magic, right? Like we associate ghosts and things like that with magic too. And it dawned again, across my mind when you were just talking about going back and talking to that little girl, because you also mentioned one time how you thought your future version of yourself came back to tell you something. So like these experiences, can also be magical, but they're necessary also for, in your case, the healing process. So associate, that's why I said, a little bit of my life became magical every day, like just because I started to hear certain things and I wanted it to be magic. Like that's what I wanted to associate it with because that's what I believe in. I actually really do believe in the supernatural. I believe in, spirits. talking to me, being able to talk to me. I believe in psychics and, all of, I think they have a unique gift that is not, fake or disingenuous. And I do believe in them. So I think, what do you think about the supernatural?
I do think I don't think it's magic. I think it's a birthright that we all have, right? That I do believe that
Mm,
everyone has some level of spiritual gifts, right? And the way that they get turned on is by doing your healing, guys. When you get closer to who you are, when you know who you are at your core and you start to question, there has to be more to life. I think that's
yeah,
when you start to be like, God did not put me on this earth for this. This is not why I'm here. Not to work a 9 to 5, not to do this just day in and day out, and to hope to one day to retire, to be able to like live out the last of my days in peace. That's not why God brought me here. There's something. So when you start asking your questions like that, I think you start to develop spiritual gifts like intuition. I think that's a spiritual gift that everyone has. You just have to be willing to listen to it and act on it, and it will continue to grow. Um, or just like the knowing where you have like, or if you get a ick feeling about someone, or you're just like, and you hear those stories because we were talking last week about like murder mystery and watching
right.
all those shows, and the person always says like something didn't feel right about the person, or something told me not to do this. That's a spiritual gift. And it is magical, right? Because you think, how do you know this? Is it my future self telling me something? Or is it like a guide or an angel or God telling me, hey, danger, avoid that? So, like, that it is magical, it is spiritual, but I do believe everyone has these gifts. Like, one of mine for me is I can smell my late grandmother. She
Mm,
had a distinct smell, and I remember I did not start having this until I had my children. I used to smell my grandmother around my children. Like I would smell her when I'd walk into their room, and I would smell her, and like it wasn't until someone told me like, "Hey, that's being a medium. That's part of being medium, meaning that you are connected to another realm. The fact that you could smell your grandmother. And that's what really made me more in tune to talking to my ancestors and doing
right.
like my roots reading, ancestral reading. And I want to do an Akashic record reading because I want to understand all of these things and all of these gifts that are available to us that feel very magical, that feel very unrealistic and unbelievable and are unknown and unseen, but are very much operating in our life. And that's, I guess, anything magical is really something that you can't see with your naked eye, but
That's
you know
it.
to be true. And manifestation, then that would be magical. The frequencies that right now our voice is carrying out into the universe by putting this podcast, we can't see them, but it's happening. That's magical. That's
Right.
spiritual. Like, I think the more and more you and I do these conversations, I think we get even more into it because we're like,
We do.
yo, this is magical. This is we trying to get y'all the secret sauce.
We
Like,
do.
listen in, abracadabra, magic school, wizardry,
Come on
goddesses,
in.
God, spirituality school is open, and we hope you are here and collecting the gems so that you
Yeah.
can unlock it in your own life.
Look, even as a young adult, because I think Harry Potter and all that wizard stuff came out maybe like, yeah, young adult life for me. I was here for that. I was like, ooh, I would have loved to go to a school like that. Can you tell? I don't want to learn these basic ass subjects. I want to
No.
learn those things.
But do you know if you I've always noticed it, that's a reoccurring thing, these secret schools,
Oh
right?
yeah,
These
yeah,
ideas, these like secret schools that have like wizardry and magic and all that stuff. And I believe it. I really do believe it to be true, Keith. Like, sometimes
yeah,
I'm like, I know there just has to be more, right? And you and I share a dream of being able to eventually like have a school that we can have for like kids so they can get some of that other learning outside. Yes, you got to do your arithmetic and your English and all that, but
yeah.
like there is magic to the world. Let's talk about manifestation. Let's have a class about manifestation or about spirituality, about awakening. So,
Yes, we will give
mm,
you your little wands and everything.
yeah,
You're gonna love it.
no, I do think that there is a huge opportunity to really like when you focus on yourself and you get true to who you are, you do the work to heal yourself, you will be astonished by the magic that unfolds before you. And so it brings me to this week's quote,
Oh,
which by Roald Dahl, those who don't believe in magic will never find it. And that's exactly what we're saying. Like, if you don't believe it to be, then it cannot be in your world.
Yeah,
If you don't believe it to be possible, it's not.
right. It's kind of like those, those people that think science is science and it can't be magic.
Mhm.
If you believe it to be science, then that's what it is going to be for you. But the same conversation could mean magic to me. Nobody's right or wrong. It's just what you believe. And everybody, has their own thoughts and way of thinking and can believe whatever they want to believe. And if it's magic and wizards and fairy tales, let them live. Stop saying Belle was weird. She was not, people.
Go back into and confront your young little boy, little girl self, heal and see wonder and see the make believe and see the imaginary opportunities and in your life. And we love you. Thank you for another great episode. Until next time, bye y'all.
Yeah.
Until next time, get in here, get in here, get in here.